Most analysts agree that this November the 6th election in the United States is mostly centered on economic concerns. Euronews spoke to analyst Ian Bremmer, president of the Eurasia Group, a political risk research and consulting firm.
We have seen signs of recovery in the US economy, and you have been saying that it is plodding forward slowly. But do you think the economy is really and properly on the mend?
Well, it depends on whose perspective, right? I mean, if you're in the top 10% of earners in the United States, or if you're a corporate executive, you probably feel like the U.S. economy is doing okay for you right now. And certainly from a macro perspective, I mean, the U.S. can borrow basically for free, which means a lot of people out there seeing the United States as a pretty good bet. But unemployment levels are high. And the quality of life for the average American and the belief that they have opportunities and that their kids will have opportunities, that has been deteriorating for a long time. So top down, I would say the United States is not only not in decline, but in some ways looks stronger than it did in 2008, before the financial crisis, in some ways. But bottom up, not only is the United States in decline, but it has been for 40 years. And that makes it very difficult to answer a question about how the U.S. economy is doing. Right?
President Obama will claim credit for injecting cash into the automotive industry and for improving unemployment figures. How likely do you think he is to reap the rewards at the election?
I think that Obama is much less vulnerable to charges that the economy has imploded under his watch than he might have been. In part, that's because unemployment numbers have improved, though still nowhere near as quickly as he would have liked or that he expected in 2009. In part, it's because Europe has not fallen apart, so we give some credit to Merkel. In part, it's because he got very lucky on a Supreme Court healthcare vote.
Mitt Romney has spoken about China and its currency, saying that he will ask China to regulate its currency. But is that really possible?
Well, it's possible to ask. You can always ask. As my mother used to say, it's nice to want. But it's better to have, and the United States has very little actual leverage over China on this issue. As I'm sure you know, China has revalued its currency about 11% over the course of the Obama administration. They haven't done that because Obama told them to, and Obama made it seem as if he got that done. No, the Chinese are taking decisions on their currency because they think it's the right thing for them to do. They've been very incremental, and they've been very modest, but they've been very consistent over the course of the last few years. I suspect that will continue.
Will there be any difference between Obama and Romney when it comes to spending to rebuild what has been damaged during Sandy?
I think whether Obama or Romney wins, I don't think you're going to see a significant difference in how money is going to be spent. Let's keep in mind, the Republican and Democratic parties are not all that different. We have two parties in the United States. They're both pretty centrist, and they both are paid by the same people. They're paid by the same special interests, the same corporations, and all the rest. The Americans want their economy to get fixed. They want jobs. They want meaningful jobs. They want taxes that are low. They want health care that works. They have very local concerns. And I mean, this is not, even Afghanistan, where Americans are dying, when Romney got the nomination at the Republican National Convention with a war that the U.S. is losing, he didn't even mention Afghanistan. Why not? Well, because he's not getting elected on that issue. And at the end of the foreign policy debate, both candidates basically said, look, let's focus on nation building at home.